NVIDIA presents Ampere and Turing professional graphics cards for mobile PCs. As part of the GPU Technology Conference, NVIDIA announced several laptop graphics cards. The first solutions will go on sale before the end of the current quarter. Representatives of the Turing and Ampere families are new. In total, the manufacturer presented 6 video cards. RTX A2000, RTX A3000, RTX A4000 and RTX A5000 solutions are built on the Ampere architecture. The Turing architecture is at the heart of the T600 and T1200 models. Before moving on to a detailed description of the new products, we note that each model has acquired support for the third generation Max-Q technologies. The package includes, in particular, Software Solutions Dynamic Boost 2.0 and Whisper Mode 2.0. Also, the Green Californian Giant declares support for NVIDIA DLSS and resizable bar. NVIDIA RTX A2000 is the most modest new product of the Ampere generation. It received 2,560 stream processors and 83rd generation tensor cores. To provide support for ray tracing technology, 24 RT cores are provided. The maximum performance of FP32 is 9.3 TFLOPS, tensor cores, 74.2 TFLOPS, RT cores, 18.2 TFLOPS. The accelerator received 4 GB of GDDR6 memory with a 128-bit bus and a bandwidth of 192 GB. The minimum TDP is 35 watts and the maximum is 95 watts. The arsenal of new items: PCI Express 4.0 x8, HDMI 2.1 and DisplayPort 1.4. NVIDIA RTX A3000 received 4,096 stream processors. In comparison with the junior model, the number of tensor and RT cores has grown from 80 to 128 and from 20 to 32, respectively. Along with the number of cores, performance has also increased. Tensor, up to 102.2 TFLOPS, RT, up to 25 TFLOPS, and in FP32 calculations, up to 12.8 TFLOPS. The second novelty has already received 6 GB of GDDR6 RAM with a 192-bit bus. The bandwidth has grown to 264 GB per second. TDP ranges between 60 watts and 130 watts. We also note support for VR, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, and PCI 4.0x16. NVIDIA RTX A4000 has 5,120 stream processors. The number and performance of tensor cores is 160 and 142.5 TFLOPS, respectively, and RT cores are 40 and 34.8 TFLOPS. The theoretical computing performance of FP32 has increased to almost 18 TFLOPS. The third novelty of the American company is equipped with GDDR6 memory with a 256-bit bus and a bandwidth of 384 GB. The volume has been increased to 8 GB. The maximum TDP is 140 watts and the minimum is 80 watts. The set of interfaces is the same as in the previous model. NVIDIA RTX A5000 is the flagship graphics card of the Ampere generation. She received 6,144 stream processors. The number of RT cores and tensor cores is 192 and 48. The former have a performance of 174 TFLOPS, the latter, 75.6 TFLOPS. The flagship model has 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM with a 256-bit bus and a peak bandwidth of 448 GB. The new product consumes from 80W to 165W. The interfaces are the same. VR support is in place too. The professional NVIDIA T600 and T1200 cards are based on the Turing architecture that was announced almost 3 years ago. The older model has 1,024 stream processors, while the younger has 896. Both models are equipped with 4 GB RAM, but the bandwidth is 192 GB, and 160 GB, respectively. NVIDIA T600 consumes 25 watts of power, NT1200 from 35 watts.